And for more analysis, we're joined from Jenin by Samir Abahra, a political analyst. A very warm welcome, sir, to the program. Mr. Samir, given the recent escalations in Jenin, with the IOF's military operation described as an effort to eradicate terrorism, how do you view this justification, especially considering the civilian toll, sir?
Good evening to you and dear viewers. What's happening in Jenin is directly linked to what's happening in Gaza and what is currently happening in the war waged on Gaza, which led to the exchange deal. These are interlinked subjects. The security matter is also political, and going back to the beginning of the deal, they actually stated what's going to happen in the West Bank. At the 7th of October, Israel were showed as unable to deal with the Palestinian resistance, and they were not able to actually eliminate the Palestinian military existence. What's happening in Gaza, taking into consideration the deal between Netanyahu and Hamas, what happened in 7th of October and what have been imposed on Israel to end the conflict, they adopted a new plan aiming to eliminating the Palestinian population and occupying Gaza and the West Bank and taking this land under the Israeli authority.
Mr. Samir, the Israeli forces have called their operation Iron Wall. How does this reflect Israel's broader strategy in the occupied West Bank, and what are the implications for Palestinian civilians at this point, sir?
This is what's taking place in the West Bank. The failure of the Israeli forces in Gaza led to this idea, Smotrich and Ben Gvir thinking that they can actually achieve their scheme in the West Bank, and they are pressuring Netanyahu either to continue the war on Gaza and occupy the entire Gaza Strip. After 42 days of the deal, they will take over also the West Bank. Now there is a deal and a truce in Gaza, and the military forces are withdrawing from Gaza. Now they are targeting the West Bank, starting with the Jenin city, intensifying military existence as some conflict and 7 Palestinian young men were killed during these conflicts. It's a political matter related to what's happening after the 7th of October, given that the requirement to have the Palestinian Authority controlling and ruling Gaza, and Netanyahu does not want that. Regarding the West Bank, it is also political regarding the annexation of the West Bank to Israel, and this is a scheme of the Israeli government. The West Bank currently is besieged. There are barriers and iron gates and a lot of aggression and hostilities, so it is very difficult for the Palestinian population to move in the West Bank. This is the Netanyahu scheme to take over the West Bank. His rejection to the deal stemmed from killing the Palestinian cause and restoring it to the table of negotiation. He did not want that. So the international agenda now is tackling this Palestinian cause, and the international community is paying a lot of attention to the peace process in the Middle East. to prevail peace. A lot of discussions are taking place, and Netanyahu has no other choice but to choose peace. This is the international community trend. We have seen this in Europe and in international fora. There are intentions represented in Trump to reintroduce the Palestinian cause and introduce a settlement, a political peaceful settlement. Now they are committing to a ceasefire, and he has no desire to confront Trump or defy him or to increase the tensions with Egypt as a mediator to this deal. There is also the Israeli population who is pressuring Netanyahu to stop the war and have the exchange of detainees. Now Netanyahu is trying to gain more.
Sir, Jenin governor described the events in Jenin as an invasion of the camp. How do you view this in the context of the calls within the Israeli government for a full annexation of the West Bank?
Yes, this is what I have stated. The annexation of Gaza and the West Bank to the Israeli lands. Now the Israeli forces in Gaza is not as functional as before, so now they are targeting the West Bank. It is the occupation and annexation of the West Bank territories. The city of Jenin is an occupied territory at the moment. And there is a state of the streets are now fully evacuated. The Palestinian citizen cannot move in the streets freely. But of course, there will be implications to these hostilities by the international community, by the United States, because this is a occupied Palestinian territory, and there will be no annexation of the Palestinian recognized lands. The international community now is recognized, is required to stop the bloodshed in the West Bank, as it is a Palestinian territory under Palestinian sovereignty, and there is a Palestinian authority to take control over these lands.
Sir, I can thank you more and for your, of course, insights, informative knowledge.